Hey guys, so today I got a package in the mail. I bought a pair of Mitsubishi Diatone speakers. If they're labeled Diatone, they'd be the 38s. But mine are Mitsubishi, so same thing, but a different cabinet, and they are called the DS50CS. But it would be the same as the Mitsubishi 38s. I got them for $50 from a storage locker. Only catch, they were missing a woofer and a mid-range. One speaker was perfect, but one speaker missing that mid-range and that woofer. So I spent a little bit of time trying to find one on eBay and whatnot, and they just weren't coming up. Until a friend told me about Bai. Bai is a Japanese middleman company, essentially, that allows you to bid on things from Yahoo Japan. Then they pick up that item or get it shipped to their warehouse, and then they ship it to you in North America, so Canada, the States, and a few other countries. It's really cool because you can't bid on that stuff in Japan yourself if you don't have a Japanese area code and phone number. So anyway, I got something in the mail today, and it's all the drivers. Okay, so here is the Mitsubishi Diatone speaker, the DS50CS. That's how I got it from the storage locker, except somebody did some very weird stuff. They basically cut the basket out the frame and installed an MTX brand mid-range and an MTX brand woofer in here. It's a bit of an abomination, but I suppose it worked for whoever was using them. They were happy enough with that. Me, not so much. I definitely want them to be all original. So here's our mid-range, straight from Japan. If you have a pair of these speakers and you're wondering what they are the preamp mid-range driver. Very good size magnet for a mid-range. If you're looking, that's compared to the size of my hand. For a mid-range, that's no joke. That's a good size. And this morning, there's Shadow. She's always there. But this morning, this showed up at the front door. These are the woofers. They did a very good job packing them. I haven't fully opened them yet, but they actually used expanding foam. Very professional. Very pleased with that. And here are the woofers. Perfect. All right, so I'll get this guys unpacked. We'll put the speaker back together, and we'll go from there. Set them up. All right, guys, so we ran into a little snag on the Mitsubishi speakers. When I bought them, as I said, they were missing a mid-range and a woofer. The guy said everything else worked. Probably should have just tested them anyway. Well, the tweeters are toast. Going to attempt to repair. See if it's just at the terminals, a bad wire. Hopefully it won't be at the voice coil on the leads. If they are, I really hope they're kind of just sitting there and we can just tack them back on. Anyway, we'll jump right into it, try and fix them. All right, so I got the tweeter torn apart. There is the magnet and the trough for the voice coil, a little cover. And then here is the diaphragm. And it was not reading, so I'm going to read straight from the, put new wires on there, solder it, and then read straight from the wires after I reassemble it. And if it works, I'll solder this terminal back onto the new wires. I'm assuming there might be a break in the wire. The voice coil looks good. It doesn't look burnt or broken. So I guess we'll just have to see. on, get off of there. There you go. And you get off of there. Come on. There it goes. Wire's off. Alright, so here's the setup. I've just got it mocked up there. I will now solder it into place and then solder the next one. And that's how we're going to attempt to repair this. Alright guys, so bad news. It was the lead wires to the voice coil wasn't at the terminal like I was hoping. So that means just the way Diatone did it, you can't access those lead wires without destroying the tweeter. I tried my best. You just can't get them. They're not there. They're hidden underneath a bunch of shit. So they're toast. So I had to order a pair from Japan. 38 Canadian plus fees and shipping. Probably going to be around another $90 to get these speakers up and running. But I ordered them and life goes on. We'll get them going. Okay guys, so we got the new drivers installed. Everything went pretty smooth. Just a little bit of soldering. And that's it. They look really good. They're in great shape. They came all the way from Japan. Not a single issue. Now, on the other one, all the drivers were there, but that mid-range dust cap is push in. Very common, if you know things about old speakers. Kids, when you're moving them, all the sorts of things can lead to that. That's what it's supposed to look like. And this one's been pushed in. So there's a few ways you can fix it. First way I always try is you get a towel, you get it a little damp, you get it wet. This works for paper usually, and this is a paper one. You let the paper soak up the water a little bit. And once it's saturated, you take a vacuum, turn it on, and you pull it out with the suction. Now, if that doesn't work, the other way you can go about it is using like something very sticky. I use this very sticky tar-like rubber. That works really well as well, but it can leave a mark. I mainly use the sticky stuff for metal domes, titanium, aluminum, whatnot. And I use the vacuum method for the paper domes. So let's get this guy wet and start the repair. Don't need a lot of water. Squeeze out the excess. Just want it wet enough where it can transfer some water over, but not so wet you're going to get your whole driver soaked. Okay. Now this just softens it up, makes it a little less stiff and easier to pull out. Okay. We will let that soak a bit. And just like that, it's pulled out. All right, so one of the last things I'm going to do before I plug these in and give them a test is I'm just going to touch the cabinets up a little bit. I'm not going to do anything too crazy here. The method I'll use is actually just using a felt pen in a sense. Not a Sharpie, no. Sharpie leaves a weird purple oily look, and you can always tell when someone uses a Sharpie on a speaker. I'm going to use these Prismacolors. I'll use black and a brown here. And I'll show you the results. Okay, so let's take that nick right there. Yeah, that one right there. A little bit of brown. Wipe the excess off. And then just a little bit of black over top. Blend it in there. Now, it's not perfect, but it's much better than before. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that on all the marks here and give it a quick cleanup. All right, and there you go. As you can see, the chips that were all along the back there are a bit blended in. These are painted cabinets, hence why I didn't sand and restain them. I'd have to sand the entire speaker box down and repaint the whole thing. You could just do the top. Then to match this color perfectly, it's just best to do the whole thing. And I think this looks good enough. So we're going to stick with that for now. To go along with my Mitsubishi Diatone speakers, I have this wonderful power amp. It's actually a two-piece unit, so this is two separate components. One component being the meters. That's the DAM10. And then the second component is the power amp. That is the A-15DC. They bolt together here. So you can actually just buy the power amp without meters. But this was a separate component. Now to get these to play together, you run from your preamp output through to here, through this channel, into your input. And then you run a second set of cables from output around into the input of the A-15DC. Mitsubishi made two power amps like this. One was a 10, one was a 15. The 10 was 100 watts and the 15 is 150 watts per channel 8 ohm. I lucked out and I got the 15. Now this was in very rough shape when I bought it. I repainted everything, including the heatsink, the top unit here. The only repair that's not really fixable would be this little mark here. But for the price I got this at, I'm not too concerned. I'll show you the back here. So it's pretty simple. You basically just have your input and your speaker terminals. Now, yeah, a few of them are cracked off, but they still work. You just have to get in there with your fingernail to twist them. I'm planning to replace these anyway because you can hardly fit a good size gauge wire in there at all. So I'd want to get some, banana plug accessible ones put on there in the future. Now, the preamp is over here. This is a very unique preamp actually, because it also is a tuner. It's a preamp with a tuner built in. It's got lots of options. You got separate output levels for left and right channel, separate balance and separate treble. So you actually adjust everything separately, and because of that, there's no balance knob. You got your muting and your AM/FM tuners guys there. You got your volume pot, your selector switch, subsonic filter, your stereo mono mode, tape monitor, duplicate, and that is your tuning dial. Very different piece. It's not many things like that, to be honest, that I've seen at least. And there you got all your inputs and outputs. And because it's a tuner, you got all your antenna hookups, and you got AM/FM multipath there. So pretty cool little unit. in really good shape. I believe I painted the top of this one as well. It was very dirty when I got it though. Oh, the pots were crazy. I almost thought the unit was broken. I had to clean it about 6 times. Those balance pots and the attenuator were a mess. The only other issue it has is, as you'll see in the demo, is these bulbs are burnt out. So I'll have to replace those, but the tuner bulb is working. But if I'm gonna go replace them, I'll probably get all new LEDs put in everything. Alright guys, and that is my video on my Mitsubishi Diatone equipment. Before I let you guys go, I guess I'll tell you a little brief history of Mitsubishi Diatone and some information. They were founded in, I think, 1940. Diatone was a branch of the Mitsubishi Electronic Company. They started off making drivers and speakers for Japanese broadcast radio companies. In Japan, most of the items were labeled under the Diatone moniker, and in other countries, you tend to see it labeled Mitsubishi, with the same emblem as the car brand. Now, they are the exact same thing. You can get this unit labeled Diatone, I believe, and same as the speakers. As I showed you, these exact speakers in different cabinets exist under the Diatone name as 38s instead of these Mitsubishi DS50CSs. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please remember to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, or whatever, just shoot them down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. Thanks, and have a good one.